I'm still ready.
Hey guys, my name's Kat. This is my best friend Sierra, and this is All the Things. Oh goodness, Dougie.
I can't. I'm like sideways.
A.
I can't do it.
I have some sort of moves, but that didn't look like I did. I really do. I really have dance moves once upon a time.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. This episode is not about our dance moves.
Not yet.
Facts.
Coming soon.
But I did want to talk about passions and our careers, because our passions became our careers. And what prompted this subject was you have been talking with two different people about their next steps in life, essentially. You have one person one person graduating and trying to figure out if they want to go to college or not. And you have another person just looking for a new career. But both of them essentially are looking for what their passions are in life, I guess.
Right.
What were the three questions that you asked them, or people in general? Because you said that we had this conversation, and I don't remember that, like, at all. But yeah, what was the three questions that you asked them?
So when I encounter people who have questions about their next steps in how do I know what to do, or I've just been doing the same thing for a long time and I know it's not what I want to do or what I feel led to do, but I just don't know where to go. There's so many options. And in that, like, yes, correct. And so the first question I always ask is, what fills your soul? What encourages you, inspires you? What fills you up? That when you do this or you participate in this, it creates this like feeling of purpose. The second thing is I say, look at your gifts. What are your gifts? What are your spiritual gifts? What are your personality traits? Where do you thrive? And so I think it's really important that as individuals, because we're all made differently and we thrive in different environments and with different things, that we look at our gifts. And if we are an introvert in an extroverted career, that can be very draining. If we are not good with social skills, but we are in a sales position, that might not be it, right? And so that's the second thing that I ask. And then the third thing that I ask is what maybe hurts your heart or what makes you angry. Usually what really causes a response in our hearts creates the avenue to what we're most passionate about and where we're called to be. So if someone is super passionate about, or human trafficking makes them very angry, that there's a response and it makes them so angry. Usually people go into careers that fight human trafficking. Or if there are people who love to travel and who love Jesus and want to spread the word, and they have their spiritual gift is evangelism, and they love to travel and they love new things and to experience culture. But also what makes them angry is, starving children in Africa or in other countries. And so usually those kinds of people would probably become missionaries or things like that. And so it's just like using the things that fill you up and create a purpose in you, weighing what you're good at and what you're not, and being honest with yourself about what you are good at and what you're not, and then what makes you angry or what creates an emotional response when something happens, or something that really just irks you that causes you to want to fight for that.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were telling me about these two different people, I was like, oh man, I've been in both of those spots. I don't know that you have necessarily, because you kind of stepped right into your passion, but I don't really know that for sure. Did you?
Well, kind of. So I was initially, my career changed a couple of times. I did end up going into music, but after I wanted to be an SVU detective, shout out to Olivia Benson. After wanting to do that and realizing that I'm a more sensitive person and I feel things really deeply, I felt like it would be a lot to handle. And I thought about being a firefighter for a while. I thought about being a cop for a while.
You thought about what?
Yeah.
What?
And then I thought about the Army for a while.
Huh?
Girl.
No.
People did not listen. I was going to put these traps.
It's a trap.
I was going to put these traps to work. They call me Traps, y'all. If you don't know me, they call me Traps. I don't know how I have strength that I do.
I don't even say, hey, can you help me lift something anymore? I'm like, hey, yo, traps. Engage the traps. Come over here.
I don't know. I don't understand. I just don't get it because it's not like I work them out or anything. But yeah, so I thought about going to the Army in a while, partially because I wasn't for sure sold on where I wanted to go, but also I really I wanted to do my time. I knew it was an admirable career, but then I also at the time I was told that they would pay for schooling, and I didn't know how I was going to pay for schooling, and so I was like, well, then at least I can serve my country and do something great and whatever, and really challenge myself. And then I was once again I'm a more sensitive person. I feel things deeply, and I didn't want to lose my personality. I didn't want to change, be altered in that way, because I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what I was going to see, and I know that those kinds of experiences do change. So it was going to either be music or cosmetology, just because I was always I was just good at those things, I guess. I just picked him up easy. And so being a girl, I'm like, well, if I can watch a few videos and do someone's nails or do the girly things, whatever. And I just really didn't want to go to school, if I'm honest. I just didn't want to continue in school. And cosmetology school was much, I was good at it, and it was only 6 to 9 months, and it was way cheaper than college.
Yeah. And
my mom said, Sierra, not everyone's gifted with a voice like yours, and not everyone's gifted with music. And this is a special gift. And, if you want to do cosmetology, you can do it down the line. You can do it at any time. And she's right. You can get your cosmetology license anytime, which is a really nice thing about college cosmetology school, is you can pick it up as a passion anytime, which is nice. But she was like, you have scholarships, you have money and stuff, so go ahead and go into music. And initially I was only going to college. I wanted to perform on cruise ships, and you don't even need a degree for that. But I wanted to cultivate my gift and have a degree under my belt because I just didn't know where life was going to lead, and I didn't want to have nothing.
Yeah.
And so I did music. My music degree did change a couple of times, but yeah. So I didn't initially really know. I fell in love with music in 6th grade, but I didn't actually know where I'd end up today. Sure. No idea until I went to college for music and decided to do that. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I got all set up for nursing school. No, not nursing school.
I was about to say.
No. To be an x-ray tech. That's what it was.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I got all set up.
Shut up.
Through our community college.
You've been lying to me. This is all a lie.
No, it's not a lie. I just forgot some details.
How do you forget?
It was a past life, man. Wow. I don't know.
That was not part of your testimony the last episode.
No.
X-ray tech.
X-ray tech, yeah. I was
making that money.
And you know what? That was the issue, though. That was really the issue. I was looking at just the money and what could get me through, and just... That was just it. Just looking at the money.
And you're like, this would be a cool job.
Yeah,
Like
and I was
X-ray.
like, oh man, X-rays, that would be actually a cool job. Or the gas people.
Excuse me?
Yeah, no, not no, like wrong gas.
Yeah, well, you just said McDonald's.
Hey, don't be telling my secrets like that. The anesthesiologist.
Oh,
is that how you say that?
girl, yes.
Hopefully I did. Said it right.
They make bank.
Yeah, I was looking at both of those, and I got all set up through Northwest Community College back home.
Wow.
And I don't remember exactly what happened or what the switch was. It might have been my friend Alicia was like, is this really what you want to go for? Because I know our band director, she's a teacher, and she's like, our band director went to Capitol in Columbus, and it was like a whole music degree, and let's just see what that school has to offer. And I'm like,
Alicia knew.
listen, she
Alicia
knows a lot.
Alicia be knowing. Before anyone else knows, she just be knowing.
Yes. She knows everything.
She got a superpower with the Lord.
She really does. So I was like, all right, whatever. But I kind of feel like my mom kind of said the same thing. Like, is this really what you want? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I want 6 figures. That's what you're saying. I want
like,
6 figures.
Yep, this is what I want. And she probably knew at that time, too, that I wasn't going to listen to anything that she had to say.
We all better know. You still don't listen. No, not in a bad way. You stubborn, you know?
This is all factual and just rude.
But I mean, you're a person that you have to find out for you, like for yourself. And I'm very much like that in my own way. But yes, like
yeah,
for sure.
But I have my people now. I have people now. Then I had my one person that could like say anything and everything to me, and I'm just like, okay, I understand what you're saying. So that was Alicia for me. She's like, let's just see what Capitol has to offer. So we looked into it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be a teacher. That's not my cup of tea. Oh, baby, no. just no. And
oh, you'd be the cutest little teacher, though.
I wouldn't be able to. No, absolutely not. Anyways, so then I just started looking into the music technology is what it was. And I'm like, I literally have no idea what this means. But from the videos that I see on YouTube, sounds cool to me. Whatever, let's apply.
But were you already running sound? Were you already doing media stuff that you enjoyed?
No.
You kind of just picked it on a whim, just because it looked cool.
Yeah.
And because Alicia was like, hey, try this out.
Yeah.
You're making a mistake.
Yeah, basically she's like, listen, kid, no. No, I wasn't doing any of that. I was a drummer for the church. And I was like, I love music. I was playing piano all the time at the church. Anything music related, I was listening to it. I was playing it. Like that was my cup of tea. And at one point, I did want to be an actual like traveling musician. And then I looked into Capitol for that, and it was like, you have to X, Y, and Z, all of this stuff. And I said, you got to be like really good for all of these things.
Yeah.
And I said, I can try out, but I know that I'm not going to get in for that. So I found my passion after picking a degree I literally had zero idea about, except for like some videos on YouTube that they had posted. And here we are now.
Wow. And you kept that all the years.
Yeah. But in college, it switched because I thought I was going to do recording engineering. And then I found out that I really don't like recording people. Like, it's just not there's a whole like science behind recording.
You mean in the studio?
In the studio, yes.
Correct.
There's a whole science. I am a very simple person. Like, give me a mic, I'll set it up, whatever, I'll record you. But to do all the little technical things,
full band masterpieces. Like, yeah.
No, don't like it. But what I do like is mixing music. Give me the whole session and I will mix it for you. I will do it. And I didn't know that was a thing until after being in college. Because you have mixing engineers, then you have mastering engineers, which I've been recently looking up videos for that. That's a whole science in itself.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of studios when I even was going to record in college that it was like you paid this much and that was just mixing, and then it had to be sent off to a master technician. I'm like, you don't do both? And like, I just didn't like recognize.
I try to do it all. It doesn't work out like that. I was watching a video earlier today about your passion, finding your passion. Well, not really finding your passion. It was kind of more on the knowing your passion and figuring out what energizes you. I have a lot of passions. I have passion for music. I have a passion for video. I have a passion for photography. But I'm trying to figure out which one of those gives me the most energy, because I want to go full force in that. So you said you always knew kind of what your passion was?
I mean, I always knew that I loved music, but it only started in 6th grade because you have to like pick an instrument.
Oh, yeah.
And you join choir for the first time. Like before that, there's music class. But other than music class, there's not like, I mean, you're playing the recorder. It's just like, and I mean, I was a beast at the recorder.
I hated the recorder.
Actually, I really don't even know. I probably sound like a dying goat.
But I was a beast. I'm just kidding.
I just be false confidence. You know how like dudes are like, yeah, I was the best basketball player ever, and they like didn't even play. That's kind of how I just felt in that moment. But I know I played the recorder, and I know that I learned hot cross buttons.
We all learned hot cross buns.
I know, but I like learned it, you know?
What did you play?
The clarinet.
Oh, that's right.
I still got 2 of them. Yeah, so I played the clarinet. I also wanted to play the violin, and then I joined choir, but in school you could only pick 2. You couldn't do all 3. And so I joined choir, and I loved it. And in 8th grade, I wasn't going to do it because there was a director shift. And at the time, I was like the worst student ever to that director. And which now I literally love her, but I was like not a good student to her. And it's because my 7th grade director went to the high school where I was going to be in a year, but I like threw a fit, and like 12-year-old Sierra was not having it. But I knew I loved choir, and I loved singing, and I loved music in general, but I knew that I didn't want a career in the clarinet because it actually wasn't that good. And I was terrified every time George Edge came down the line. I was like, don't make me play it in front of the whole band. Like, it ain't good. But anyways, so I knew I loved music, but sometimes you just have to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. Like, I can love music, but clarinet was not it. And so it would have been a disservice to other things if I would have just dove into something that I couldn't come to terms with, that I wasn't good enough at. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like there's people who dive into things, and like, I think it's important to be very like real with ourselves, have big dreams for sure. But like, it would have been a disservice to my voice if I would have pursued the clarinet, just because I wasn't as developed in the voice, but I was developing the voice, and I enjoyed that a lot more, and I had a calling more in that. Like, I could get better at the clarinet, but it just didn't, like you said, it doesn't give me like a reaction or response. It didn't like create a purpose inside of me. And so it was great for the time that I was that, and it developed my musical skills. It helped me a ton. Like, band really helped me as a leader. And it was the best thing that ever happened. Like, I would say band developed me more as a leader. But I know that the choir program, like, I loved my director, and she really instilled like the passion for music. But even then, I didn't know what I wanted to do with music. I knew that I didn't want to teach in a school. And that's the second question that I talked about earlier, is like, what are you good at and what are you not good at? Which way do you thrive? And I know that I'm not a morning person, and I think we probably talked about it.
No, you're not.
I am not a morning person. And
Get this girl some coffee.
You got to be at the school at like 7 a.m. No.
You'd be like, so can we push that to like 9:30, 10 o'clock?
I'd be like, choir classes cannot start until fourth period. Like, they just cannot. And I knew that I loved choir, teaching choir, but I just had such a passion. Like, I really had a passion for, and I really still love show choir. I loved after college going back and ending up being an assistant director to show choir. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah.
And I love those kinds of things because I have a big passion for contemporary music. And just like in general, I just have an appreciation for all types of music. But in all of it, like, I knew I loved music, but I really had to do the deep digging of what makes me thrive. And so it was musical theater, it was contemporary music, and that's what I thrived in, which makes sense why I love show choir, because it's the contemporary music and it's combining my love of singing and choir and dancing and all of that with my passion for contemporary music. So, but when I got to college, like I said, I was only going just to have a degree to develop my skills so that I could perform on a cruise ship. And I had auditioned for Royal Caribbean anyways. And because I was like relearning everything, like there was so much I still didn't know. And they were like, hey, like, we think you have a lot of potential. We just need you to keep working on it and come back. And I never did go back and audition again because right after I graduated college, I went straight into starting a business. And so I never really did fulfill that dream. But when I got to college, my degree, and the only reason I really ended up at Belhaven was because I was searching for a degree, and only 6 schools in the country at the time had this degree, and it was a Bachelor of Music. So it would technically be a BM in musical theater. So the emphasis was musical theater. All other schools were a Bachelor of Theater, so it was mostly theater in musical theater. So you had a little bit of music. And I wanted a soul music degree with an emphasis in musical theater to help develop me for a cruise ship. And so I got there, and that was still kind of a newer program, and I just didn't feel like it was for me. So then I changed my major, and I was like, you know what? I do have one of my spiritual gifts is teaching. My other one's administration. My other one's encouragement. And so like those are my top gifts. And I had always kind of like gone for leadership positions and stuff, but I ended up going through the teaching thing. Once again, realizing that I am not a 7 a.m. person. I do not thrive, nor would anyone else around me thrive at 7 a.m. I was starting to explore other options, and I went into they were developing a Bachelor of Music in teaching degree. They didn't have that. They had it for instrumental, not vocal, and that was its own thing. So I did all the education classes, and I was supposed to get my education degree. But with it being a new program, I was going to need to stay an extra semester. And I don't love school that much. I loved Belhaven, but I was already 6 figures in debt with them. And the last semester is just student teaching. And if I knew that I didn't want to work in a school, so I did all the courses, but I decided to just get a Bachelor of Music and dive deep into what I do today. And here we are.
Were you ever scared to step into this music life?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a very fearful person in general. I think the main thing was a lot of people, when you say you're going into music, they're like, there's no money there.
Yeah.
The money's inconsistent. You're not going to make enough money. And I can tell you right now that that's not true. Like, if you're going for a performance degree and all you want to do is perform and that's your only thing that you're ever going to pursue, then I could see how that could be an issue, just because if there's not enough performance gigs or things like that, especially like then COVID happened, like you didn't get to perform at all. And I know a lot of my musicians really struggled that were in bands, but they had a separate job so that they could gig, but yeah, I think it was just the pessimism of other people. Or it's like, why would you go into music? Like, you're just a singer. Like, you can sing on the side, go get a real career. and I think that's just disrespectful in general. I think it disrespects people's gifts. But also, I think it's important to like only pursue music if it's really your passion. Because there's a lot of people that would really thrive in a great career. And the good thing about music is that you can do it on the side. And so I would say if you want to go be an anesthesiologist or something,
Yikes.
and that's something that you're really passionate about, you can still gig on the weekends, or you can still write on the weekends. And so you have to have a lot of drive in that, and you really have to be set apart musically, and you have to set yourself apart and keep developing that. And you're right, there's no guarantee, but there's also no guarantee in any job that there's an opening and whatnot. And so I think it's just important. That's where we talk about like knowing yourself, and just knowing if that's really it. Like, could I have done cosmetology? For sure. Could I have done well in it? I'm sure, it could have been fine, but I don't think it would fill me and fuel me. And I don't think I know that I wouldn't be as passionate about it. But then teaching, I've been teaching for 7 years now, and I literally love it.
Yeah.
Even when it's a lot of work, it's so worth it. And I just love it, and it fuels me, and it just makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger and greater, and I'm impacting those around me. And so, no, I wouldn't say that I stepped in with fear. I think it was just pessimism of other people, of like, it kind of is like they're indirectly looking down on you because you're going into music instead of a real career. Like, they would be more impressed if you were like, I'm going for nursing.
Yeah.
But like, you don't want me as your nurse. I don't really like blood and all of that. Like, I don't do needles. So like, you would hate for me to be your nurse. And if I'm in a bad mood, then I'm not even nice to be with. Like, I wouldn't be thriving as a person, and you wouldn't be thriving as my patient. So like, let's be real, And so even if nursing is more admirable in your sight, like, it doesn't mean that my passion is any less great, and we all are making a difference with our passions, and we're all relevant in that. So I wasn't scared. Were you scared?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. If you haven't listened to episode 3, go back and listen to it. But I live in fear and currently live in fear.
What?
Oh, yeah. I was scared. It was like a 50-50 thing of like people being excited for going in the music career, or, oh, really? That's what you want to do? How do you see that making it work for the rest of your life?
Yeah, how can you support yourself with that kind of career?
And I had no answers because even in college, I didn't know what path I was going to do. I'm like, okay, mixing, love it. How do I make that my career? It didn't make any sense to me. And it wasn't until I found the internship in doing live sound that really, really, how do you say it? Fueled you?
Yeah.
Gave me energy, whatever. That, whatever. Yeah. Live mixing in a room with a bunch of people around you. And that right there, oh my gosh, it gives me so much energy. It fuels my heart.
She literally loves it.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, forget this recording stuff. Like, I'll mix your stuff, just send me the files. But if I can like be at the event and mix your sound for you, like, she thrives. She loves it. She walks around the room. She's got a little iPad.
Yes.
Like, she bougie. But yeah, she loves doing live sound. Like, so would you say you're still scared?
No, not now. I mean, I was scared for 5-6 years, and I ignored my passion. But now that I've like stepped into it, there's a lot more opportunities that I didn't see, or maybe was even willing to see, like, oh, this is a part of it too. I love what I'm doing now.
And tell the people, what are you all doing now?
What am I doing now?
Yeah.
I am mixing on Sundays, live stream for a local church here. And all the rest of the days, I work at Crosslink and here at Crosslink, and doing social media stuff. I'm getting into videos and photography. So I really love that too. I just like being creative, but I feel like I'm in a creative slump right now too.
But when you're out of your creative slump, like, you do cool things for sure. But yeah, now you're doing a podcast. You mix that. You're helping mix other podcasts.
Yeah,
which
2
you're
other
really,
podcasts.
Yeah, which you're really passionate about podcasts too. Like you think that's super fun, not just being in one, but kind of making that come together. We did an event last month, photography and video.
Listen, let's talk about that event real quick.
Oh, okay.
Because it ties into this. Because I was thinking about all of these different things. Really, what fuels my heart, what energizes me. And I thought back to 2 weeks ago. One, I was mixing live, so that's already
Thriving.
But
Hashtag.
it was more of a great reminder to me, just in the sense of like, oh, I just love doing all of this media work. Because in the moment, I'm like, oh, do I really love doing all of this? Did I make the right decision? That has been my fear recently. Did I make the right decision? I did. I will say that.
Yeah, it was like a reminder.
Yes.
I love that. So you started your business, but for a while you didn't pursue your passion.
Mm-mm.
And we talk about that in episode 3 as well. And so then you had the opportunity you were mixing at the other church, and then you came on at Crosslink, and so now you do all of these things. How would someone, I'm sure there are other people who maybe are in their careers right now, and it's like they're having that same question of like, did I make the right decision? Like, how do you know?
So going back to truth and remembering the whys of why you wanted to go into the career. Like for me, it was the big turning points, and just remembering the love that I have for all of it. And I guess just to not be fearful. Like for me, the Lord gave me these passions and the love for music. And it's been easy for me to forget all of that. But also remembering to go back to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So for you, you have chosen vocal coaching. How did you get to that?
So I actually was going to stay in Mississippi, and I didn't want to leave Mississippi. And I was at the time in a super toxic relationship that I didn't see how toxic it was. And there was an internship there at the church, and I really wanted to be part of that. And I still just love that church. Every time I visit Mississippi, I go there. And my college pastor had said, hey, you should really apply. We have this residency where they pay for everything, and like coming out of college to have something that like they pay for everything and they mentor you, and it's at a church that you love, and it like gives you opportunity and connections. And I was so excited about it. And he really encouraged me to apply and said I'd be great for it. And it was a worship internship. And at the time, I didn't know that worship was a calling on my life. Had no idea. If I had known that worship, if I had somehow maybe been more attentive to the Holy Spirit, or just like if I had clarity in that area, then I probably wouldn't be here right now in general. And I probably would have been in that toxic relationship, and I probably would have married that person, and I probably would be divorced from that person by now. And I don't even believe in divorce, but it just would have been a really, really difficult thing. And I think the program would have been great, and I would have loved to do that. But at the time, I also was interviewing for a job to be an admissions counselor. And this is where, in this discussion of purpose is really important, because there are a lot of careers that you could probably do well, that we could probably do well. Yeah. And could I answer the phone? Could I talk to people and give tours? Do I have good social skills? Am I lively and social? And can I, am I organized? Do I do computer work well? Sure. Those are things that we all have our skills if we look at what we could do. Could I arrive at 8 a.m.? It'd be awful, but yes, like if I had to do it. And so it's not that I couldn't be a great admissions counselor. Could I have done it? Yes. Could I have been a cosmetologist? Yes. But I think it's really important that we don't look at all the things we could do. I think when searching for passions, it's really important. Like we have to find really what is the deep call that creates a deep purpose in us, that we thrive, that not only others thrive around us, but that we thrive too. And so it's not in a selfish thriving, like I just want more money, like get behind me peasants. It's like, what can I do to better those around me and better the world around me, but also better me as a person. And so long story short is that I didn't end up in Mississippi. My vocal coach back here, she lives up north, and she was like, hey, it's hard to get down to Grove City, and it's I have a lot of different schools that I'm in, and so can I give you the students that I have from your high school, which I always loved my high school. It was my alma mater, right? And so that's how I started teaching. And she had kind of given that opportunity of like, hey, if you wanted to coach, I could give you some of my students, just because I need to let go of some. And that's just far to get there, and yada, yada, yada. So it was in the back of my mind. And so when all other doors fell through and they had shut, which is how the Lord speaks to me, is through open and shut doors. And I know we talked in the other podcast about how the Lord speaks to you.
Yeah.
And the Lord speaks to me through open and closed doors. And so all other doors had closed. And when I chose Belhaven, all other doors had closed. Like that was the one school that I had scholarships. I had gotten into the music program that I wanted. And granted, I did audition for some really difficult music schools, but also like there was just so much peace. And there's different ways that the Lord has orchestrated and confirmed the call through those open doors. Something as simple as, making me feel at home and closing the other doors to the other schools. It's not that I wasn't in them. It just, all the things, all the doors open when it came to Belhaven. And then when I was leaving Belhaven, all the doors shut. And I'm like, but Lord, no, like, I need to stay in Mississippi. And the Lord's like, abort mission. And so, like, he shut all the doors. And I knew that I had this opportunity back here. And I knew that it would allow me to create my own schedule, which means I didn't have to wake up at 8 a.m., that I would get to be back at my old high school, which I loved really. And that was where I really fell in love with music, was at the Grove City, and where I was challenged to be a leader at Grove City, and just all these different things. And so I loved that. And that kind of confirmed that. But yeah, so here we are. And I love teaching. Love it, love it, love it. So what's your favorite part of your job? Like, what's your favorite, like, it just reminds you every time why you do this?
I feel like there's so many because I do a lot of different things. It's not just audio.
Right.
It's not just mixing. It's not just whatever. It's finishing the project, like a video project, we'll say. Finishing a project, and the person is just like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. It tells the story, blah, blah, blah.
So the affirmation of your good work, like that people appreciate your work.
Yeah, that sounds kind of bad though when you say it like that.
No, but I mean that you get affirmation that like what you did was quality and it was what they wanted. Like you made your customer happy.
Yes. Like Christy's photos. I did a photo shoot with our friend Christy and her dog, and she loved them. Just to know at the end of that, like Christy really, really just loved the end product.
Yeah, she gonna tell you about it for the next 5 years. She will every time. And then we'll go to her house and she gonna have them hung. Yep. She'll be like, oh, my friend Kat, she took them for me. Like she'll tell everyone. Yeah. She'll tell the whole world. And it makes it worth it for sure.
Yeah. And then with live mixing, it's not even the affirmation from someone like, oh, that sounded great. It is reading the room and just knowing that they're enjoying their time. Because, I mean, you can kind of tell whether they're enjoying the quality of the sound, or maybe that's just me because I'm an engineer in that case.
Right.
But listen, the Lord, his presence is not there unless it is the kick drum smacking you in the chest or the bass like just hitting your chest. I'm telling you, the Lord doesn't move unless it's that.
That's biblical. Search for it. It's in the book Katerina. Katerina 19:1. So that's your favorite part.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
So for teaching, my favorite part is when students get it and when they succeed. So like, especially if it's something that we've worked on, for a long time. My assistant now, Sydney, she came in to vocal coaching, and she had had multiple coaches for years. And she just came in super constricted, which means you're like locking the breath, and her belt was very limited and things were just really tight and tense. But like, she was trying to go for this sound, but her approach was just like the body was not responding, and it was actually making that sound completely opposite of the way it could have. And so she was really defeated walking in the studio, and she just worked really, really hard. And there were obviously lots of different steps that we had to move and adjust muscles, create new habits. And just to even get to the belt, we had to adjust with deal with the jaw tension and the tongue tension and the larynx position. Yeah. We had to there were steps to the process, and the goal was I want to be able to sing healthily and not have my voice hurt and be gone after 2 seconds. But also and she's also leading worship as well, and being developed in that way. And so, it just to see it click and her to just sound so good, and then to get chills. But also, I love, one of my favorite things is when students sing for me, and when they're singing, all I can think about is where they were when they started the studio. And they'll just be singing, and I'm just their voice is so free and their voice is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, their voice, everyone has a beautiful voice. It's just some take more time to cultivate it than others. And you can have a beautiful voice, and it's just sometimes we are approaching it in the wrong way that hinders the beauty of our own voice. And so now she's building all these songs higher and higher, and I'm just who are you? That's just crazy to me. And it's just so beautiful to see people smile and light up and be so excited and feel good about that their hard work has paid off. And so that's in teaching, that is the best thing ever, is when I hear people sing and I just think back to where they were when they first started. Oh, it's the best thing ever. And to see them succeed on stage is phenomenal as well. And just to keep seeing progress over perfection is just phenomenal to me. That just fills my heart. So I love seeing people succeed and feeling good about it. And then in worship leading, I just love hearing people sing along. I love to sing as one. And I love seeing people worship and have less distractions and whatnot. But I love developing worship leaders. That literally is probably the ultimate call of my life that I just realized this last year. It combines my vocal stuff with my leadership stuff and my worship leading stuff. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love developing worship leaders, but in that I love developing my team and watching them grow and creating space for them to step into something bigger and to push them toward leadership and give them opportunity to grow as a leader. And they step into it. Heart full. Yeah. Life complete. Take me now, Jesus. That was great.
That was really cool to see from the worship night.
Yes.
Seeing different people. Well,
we'll tell them about the worship night for anyone who didn't know about it. What was it?
What was it?
It was a worship night, but for what? It wasn't just a crosslink worship night.
Oh, no, it was, so you held a worship night. Yeah. Through Arise for your students.
Correct.
One, to give them a platform, step into, what was it?
Leading,
Step into leading, yeah. So that was really cool to see some of your students stepping into that role, because not all of them get that opportunity
right
every Sunday.
Right. And it was just an opportunity to worship together, which is the singing together, right? Joining as one.
Yeah.
That just already filled my soul. But it was such a beautiful moment. Plus, it's like, it's so great to be on the journey with people and be able to like be that encourager and supporter and like teacher and mentor. Like, that's just so beautiful to watch people flourish. Oh, literally one of my favorite things in the whole entire world. And so that was really beautiful to watch people and give them the opportunity to like step into that.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I loved it.
It was really cool.
Did I tell you I loved it? Because I loved it.
It was a really awesome night.
Did I tell you it's one of my favorite things? Because it is. It like, there's just nothing like it. There's nothing like seeing other people step in and flourish. There's just nothing like seeing people shine.
Yeah.
And thrive.
In general? You mean that in general?
In general, like, think about someone who, when they are stepping into their calling, like, there's nothing like seeing someone step in their calling. It doesn't matter if it's singing or not. Like, my brother, killer coach. I love watching him coach. I love watching him play basketball too, because he loves it. But like, there is just nothing like seeing, because that my brother has different gifts than me, but he is a phenomenal coach, and like seeing people thrive, like it's so encouraging seeing people and their face. Like, even Grant was like, when you talk about vocal nerd stuff, like on your Technique Tuesdays that you post, I literally just love watching them. I don't care if they're 20, 30 minutes. Your whole face is lit up. And I think that that's another gauge that we'll kind of close with, is like another gauge if you're thriving your passion, like people can tell. And there's just a glow. Like, you light up when you talk about this thing, that you light up when you're learning about it, that you are intrigued by it, you're encouraged by it, you want to keep learning more, you never want to stop getting better at it. And so if that's singing, if that's coaching, if that's learning things in data analysis or medical stuff, like, there's just nothing like seeing people thrive. And did I tell you I love it? Because I literally, it fires me up. Just even thinking about people thriving in their gift.
Yeah.
And just lighting up. It's so good.
Yeah.
Amen.
No, I get what you're saying.
In Jesus'
One of my
Amen.
favorite things is to watch you coach. Like, for dress rehearsals and what's the Sunday one?
The band rehearsal.
Dress rehearsal. Those are my favorite moments. Even like recital day. Before, I don't know that you do this so much anymore, but before, back in the day, you used to stand in the back and you would like, I don't know, you did this thing with your hands where you're like coaching them through so that like, and you'd be in the back and you're like,
okay, wait.
Oh, it's my favorite.
To be fair, okay, that's valid. So what I was doing is the students, because I was teaching younger students. They were middle school and high school, and now I'm like much more into the adults. So like our next recital in May is like mostly like a lot of adults, a lot of rock stars.
Oh yeah.
Like half adults, half like high school. There's not as many young, but when I was starting out and stuff, I always stood in the middle aisle at the back, so I wasn't a distraction to anyone else, but the students had to see me because there was some sort of comfort, and they're like, we just need to see you, like give me. And so my hand gestures that I do in the studio to let them know, like, hey, bring it forward, or think up, or lift here, have fun, loosen up, like
doing all
I'm doing this whole thing because they needed, they wanted like the comfort and knowing like I'm here with you, like we're performing together, like this is you, and like you're not alone on that stage,
right?
And so I would just dance with the band the whole time. I'd give signals, I'd help them, just whatever would help them sing better. Like, I'm rooting for you, I'm your biggest cheerleader back here. But
listen, I did not know that you were, I didn't realize at first that you were cheering them on, coaching them through. I literally thought you just were doing a dance routine in the back. Because that's what it looked like. And I said, oh,
it's thriving.
Well, whatever. You do you. Is this what coaching is? All right. Okay.
That is, and so now I'm at the point where I'm like, I still do it. I still stand at the back.
I'm not in a position anymore to like see it.
I still stand in the back, and there will be parents who know I stand in the back, and they will turn and see, like, watch what I'm doing. They do.
Yeah.
And they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, I just love watching you in the back." I'm like, "You're not supposed to be watching me in the back. You're supposed to be looking forward." And so I stand in the back because I don't want to be a distraction, but I want students to feel safe, and I want them to feel comfortable. And I do less and less and less with every year that I teach, and the studio has gotten a lot more experienced singers and stuff too, and so a lot of them just don't need me. But and that's fine. Like, I love just sitting and enjoying it, and I'll be there if you need me to, but I'm just making sure that everything's going smoothly and that I can support, and if I need to do gestures, then I'm not going to distract anyone from the performance. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, those moments, you can tell I'm like thriving.
Directing the band too.
Directing the band, get me hype. That's like when I directed the show choir combo.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was like the most fun thing in the whole entire world. Like, I loved it so much. I would do show choir combo band for the rest of my life if I could.
I love that. I love seeing
And directing
people,
show choir. Oh, so
I
fun.
love seeing people just thriving in their passions.
Yeah, and you would never see me light up like that doing hair. And I love getting my hair done. My sister-in-law's a hairstylist. She's phenomenal, literally phenomenal.
So good.
And she loves it, and she's passionate about it. Girl, do it. Like, I support you 110%. She is phenomenal. Like, she's so good. And I tell everyone to go to her. But for me, I just know that I wouldn't light up. I could do it. It would pay the bills, but money's just not enough. Like, if I chose a different career because I was more focused on the money, I could be miserable, but money fades.
Yep.
And things fade. And when I leave this earth, whether it be tomorrow or in 50 years, I can't take it with me. I can't take money with me. I can't take my body with me. All I can take is my soul, and the only thing I can leave is my legacy of the way that I use my gifts to encourage, to capture moments, to create moments, to encourage others, to develop worship leaders, to impact someone's singing career and make them fall in love with music. Like, those things matter to me more than any amount of money. And so going into music was so worth it.
Yeah.
And I think, you going into audio stuff was so worth it too.
Yeah.
Because I think you create such good stuff.
You do?
I knew you were going to do that.
I wasn't expecting that.
She does. That's why I hire her from all my events. And that's also why, even when we weren't friends, I was seeking her out. I was like, "Hey, yo, girl."
I said, nah.
She rejected me,
No.
but it's okay because she's back, and now she does all my events. So you can catch Katarina in her sparkly gold Arise gear with tech on the back because she got her own sweatshirt for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That me.
Because she's the best live audio engineer.
Thank you.
I only hire people that like do good job,
Listen, don't be trying to make me cry now. Anyways, I wanted to say that the money part, very important.
Very important.
So important. I chased money for several years, and I can tell you that I am like way more happy than I was working at Menards, doing something I didn't like, receiving the money that I thought I needed. It's just not all about money. Find your passion, have no fears, and step into them.
And even if you do have fear, just step into it. Like, go to the facts. Like, this is what my gifts are. And I can thrive. I have good social skills, or I don't.
Yeah.
I like talking on the phone, or I don't. I work better in an office, or I work outside. I work better with my hands. I don't. I'm very strong and physical, and I can do manual labor. I really can't do that.
Yeah.
I am an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I'm very organized. I'm not organized. There's so many. You just ask yourself those questions. Am I or am I not? And then hone it down in.
Yep.
How can I use my gifts to serve the world and leave a legacy? And if money comes with it, money comes with it.
Yeah.
Listen, even janitors make good money. Bus drivers make good money. Trash dudes.
Yeah, they make
bank.
They make good money.
And and you're just lifting and getting swole by lifting some trash. Like, you might smell a little bit, but that's okay. Like, you'll make enough money that you can take a shower. Like,
You can buy enough soap.
you can buy enough soap. And so it's like, if cleaning up the food cafeteria is where you find purpose, there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
And if it pays your bills and you find deep purpose in that, then clean up that cafeteria with joy. Like, do that well. Do that with excellence. If being a teacher is what makes you thrive, do that. Whether in a school or whether you're like me and you're like, I really think I have something that's unique that could thrive in small business. If it's being a small business owner, it's hard. It's rough.
Yes.
It's a really slow start.
Yes.
And you have to have something filling the space and the time, and you might have to get a second job for a little bit of time until that flourishes. But try it. Go for it. And if it fails, it fails. There's a cajillion other jobs. Like, you got to find what works for you. But if picking up trash cans, knowing that you're cleaning up the community, do it. Do it with joy. Like, you're not any less than a nurse. Like, every job matters.
Yeah.
And so find your passions. Thrive in those, because the world needs you.
Yes.
Yes. All right, friend. Close us out.
Thanks, you guys, for listening and coming back for another episode. See y'all.